Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha namam Vishnu padaya Krishna pristaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatarishtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Haribol, today we continue from verse 16. So here's the painting. There is some river, some dried up trees. Yeah, let's see. At night, by the grace of the moon, at night, by the grace of the moonlight, the clouds in the sky can be seen moving. Yet the moon itself appears to be moving, just as a living being appears to be moving because of false identification with matter. At night in the rainy season, the moving clouds reflecting the moonlight make the moon appear to be moving. This is called illusion. The spirit soul or the living being is the root of all the activities of the material body, but because of illusion, the spirit soul remains covered by the gross and subtle material bodies. Thus covered, the conditioned soul identifies with the material body and thus becomes subject to the sense of false ego. This false ego obliges a living being to consider his material body to be his self, the offspring of the body to be his children, and the land of the birth of the body to be an object of worship. Thus, the living being's conception of nationalism is another type of ignorance. Because of ignorance, a living being identifies himself with the land of his birth and moves with the misconceptions of national ideas. In fact, however, a living being does not belong to any nation or species of life. He has nothing to do with the body, as the moon has nothing to do with the moving clouds. The moon is far away from the clouds and is fixed in its own orbit, but illusion presents a scene in which the moon appears to be moving. A living being should not float with the misconception of the temporary body. He must always know himself to be transcendental to the bodily identity. This is the path of knowledge, and complete knowledge fixes the living being in the orbit of spiritual activities. The spiritual living force is always active by nature. By illusion, his activities are wrongly directed in relation with the body, but in the liberated condition of complete knowledge, his activities are conducted in spiritual devotion. Liberation does not mean stopping activities. It means being purified of illusory activities and becoming transcendental to realization with the gross and subtle bodies. Yes, Prabhu, no problem. Hare Krishna, Dimitri, Prabhu, Dandavat, Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, this Light of Bhagavatam is really nice book. We started this yesterday, and the first day we already read like 50 pages. That's really addicting.
Very well.
It was like more at the beginning. I thought this would be like really hard to understand, but the things explained were like in a simple way from nature. It was really nice to. There were so many of analogies that I never heard before. So this is really nice one.
Prabhu, it's written by Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhu. And this is like written really early, like beginning of 1960. This is like the first ones, but this was
one of
published. It was only published after
Yeah.
Prabhupada left. And there was in this book, Prabhupada had given he had given some verses, and he gave instruction how he said that you devotees should find a proper painter who can paint illustrations according to these verses. And then he also gave like how it should be painted. He gave directions, and later they found this painter, and she did these pictures. This was like written to one, like there was some, what is the word? Some gathering or something. And Prabhupada was supposed to go there and present these. There was like some spiritual gathering in Japan. And Prabhupada was supposed to go there and present this whole thing. It would have been so amazing to present this. Because it's, in this, there is not much God mentioned or anything like this, but from nature, in a really simple way, Prabhupada explains how the nature thing works, then he explains what it refers to and how it's comparable to soul's action and things like this from nature. It's really nice.
Yeah, illustrations are amazing.
Hare Krishna, Pranjal Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Pranjal Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
And now also to my mind came that you had sent some message about that older Russian devotee, but I didn't have yet time to read it. But later I will read it, like what happened with him.
What message, Prabhu?
I remember seeing in the morning that you had sent something about that English teacher of that one Prabhu.
Oh.
Did you have did you talk with him? With the
No, because that Bhakti Denis, he forwarded my voice message to that senior devotee, and that senior devotee gave his commentary on me. So
yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I'll read it later after this.
yeah, I think he's from Gaudiya Math because he didn't criticize me for mentioning rhetoric system and and at the same time he's not reading himself, I think, because otherwise he would have told me.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I think also he could be from Gaudiya Math. Because there is in Finland, there is many similar persons. They don't say much about this Ritvik thing, but they just say we are with Gaudiya Math. Okay, Haribo, next one. Here is a beautiful peacock and some nice cherry trees. Cherry blossoms. 17. When the clouds appear in the sky, the peacock begins to dance in ecstasy, as a sincere soul becomes overwhelmed with joy on the appearance of a saint at his house. The duty of sages and saints is to go from door to door and thus enlighten the householders in spiritual knowledge. Householder life is compared to a dark well. Yeah, this is amazing comparison. In a dark well, the frog cannot see the free light of the open sky. The dark well of householder life kills the soul. One should therefore get out of it, so that he may see the light of spiritual vision. Saints and sages mercifully try to uplift fallen souls from the dark well of householder life. An enlightened householder therefore takes pleasure in the appearance of such saints and sages at his house. The mind of the householder who is conditioned soul is always disturbed by the threefold miseries of material life. Everyone wants to be happy in his householder life, but the laws of nature do not allow one to become happy in material existence, which is like a spontaneous forest fire. Yeah, we are trying to be happy in a forest fire. How can that be? That's crazy. In the age of Kali, as described before, people in general no longer take pleasure in the presence of saints and sages. Yeah, this I remember. In Russia was a similar thing when Sundar Gopal Prabhu came to Russia and there was some devotee and there were some problems. He said, "Don't talk so loud" or something like this.
Yeah, because some devotee, I believe he came after work, he came late at night, so he came to the house where Prabhu was residing. So Prabhu had to preach to that person.
Yeah.
But the host of the house, he told Prabhu, please be quiet. My children cannot sleep while you're talking. So come on, how can you stop preaching when the senior devotee gives speech? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. It's perfect example of this, that nor are they interested in spiritual enlightenment. The saints and sages,
Yes.
however, take all risks to propagate the message of Godhead. Lord Jesus Christ, Thakur Haridas, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and many such sages risked their life to propagate the message of Godhead. Self-realized saints and sages take such risk for the spiritual enlightenment of the people in general. They do not take vows of silence meant to win cheap glory from the ignorant mass of people. God is satisfied only when his devotees take all sorts of risks to propagate his glories. Such devotees are unafraid of the difficult journey to cross the ocean of nescience. They are always anxious for the welfare of the fallen souls who are attached to the false enjoyment of materialistic life, in which they forget their eternal relation with God. It is the duty of the saints and sages to enlighten the fallen souls, and reciprocally, it is the duty of the householder to receive the saints and sages cordially. As the peacock dances in ecstasy at the presence of clouds in the sky, the fire of threefold miseries experienced by materialistic man can be extinguished only by the cloud of mercy of the saints and sages who can pour down the water of transcendental message to put an end to the miseries of the householders. Okay, who wants to read the next one?
May I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
Yeah, there are these called dragonflies, or what is the word?
Yeah, I also don't remember how it is called in English.
Yeah, let's see if it's dragonfly. Yeah, it is. I remember it.
Yeah.
But this is some old tree looking thing.
Okay, text 18. Many plants and creepers that were almost dead during the months of April and May are now visible again in various forms, for they are not nourished by their roots in the moist earth. These numberless plants and creepers resemble persons who dry up in severe penances for some material gain, but then achieve their objectives and become luxuriously fat, nourished by sense enjoyment. What an analogy.
Yes, Prabhu, this is so amazing. So amazing, book. So, there is so many like word usage that I haven't heard before. And I understand because this is like to straight for materialistic persons who are not like religious. So this is really nice.
Yes. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that when the daytime of Brahma is over, the manifested creations of the universe all vanish, and after the end of Brahma's night, the creation is manifested again. Bhutva gramahasa evayam, bhutva bhutva praliyate, ratriagane vasah partha prabhavatyahar agame. Again and again the day comes, and this host of beings is active, and again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved. Bhagavad Gita 8:90. Thus, the cosmic creation in its manifestation and non-manifestation resembles the creepers and plants that appear during the rainy season and gradually vanish when the season is over. Even when the plants and creepers are no longer to be seen, their seeds remain, and these dormant seeds fructify in contact with water. Similarly, the seed-like spiritual sparks, who are dominated by the desire to lord it over the material nature, exist in dormant state after the cosmic manifestation is annihilated, and when the cosmic manifestation reappears, all the silent living beings within the womb of material nature come out and engage in sense enjoyment, thereby growing luxuriously fat. To attain liberation, one must be completely purified of perverted forms of desire. A living being cannot snuff out desires, and to practice artificially erasing the actions of desire is more dangerous than the active desires themselves. All desires should be reformed and directed towards spiritual activities. Otherwise, those same desires will repeatedly manifest themselves in different varieties of material enjoyment, thus conditioning the living being perpetually in material bondage. Ribo. Text 19. A crane stands on the edge of a pond that is always disturbed by flowing water, mud, and stones. The crane is like a householder who is disturbed in the shelter of his home, but who, because of too much attachment, does not want to change his position. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, those announcements are top notch.
Yeah, this is so amazing.
He's standing on one foot.
Yes, bro.
The forgetful householder life of the conditioned soul is a soul-killing dark well. This is the opinion of Sri Prahlad Maharaj, the celebrated devotee of the Lord. Too much attachment for hearth and home is never recommended by a self-realized soul. Therefore, the span of human life should be methodically divided. The first stage is called the Brahmachari Ashram, or the order of life in childhood, when the man to be is trained in the ultimate goal of life. The next stage is Grihastha Ashram, in which the man is trained to enter into the transcendence. Then comes the Vanaprastha Ashram, the preliminary stage of renounced life. The last stage recommended in the sannyas order, or the renounced order of life. In this way, one accepts a gradual process of spiritual activities for their ultimate goal of liberation. Unfortunately, for want of sufficient culture of the human spirit, no one wants to give up the householder life, even though it is full of pinpricks and mud. And those who are too attached amidst the pinpricks of muddy householder life are compared to the cranes that stand on the bank of the river for some sense enjoyment despite all the inconvenience there. We should always remember that the society, friendship, and love we're supposed to enjoy in family life, and only shadowy representations of the real society, friendship, and love reciprocated in the kingdom of God. There is no reality in the conditioned life of material existence, but because of our ignorance, we're attached to the mirage. The idea of society, friendship, and love is not at all false, but the place where we search for it is false. We have to give up this false position and rise to the reality. That should be the aim of life, and that is the result of cultivating the human spirit. Unfortunately, for want of sufficient culture of this spirit, the materialistic man always sticks to this false place in spite of all its turmoils. It is said that a man should give up the order of household life at the age of 50. But in this era of ignorance, even an old man wants to rejuvenate his bodily functions, put on artificial teeth, and make a pretense of youthful life even on the verge of death. Crane-like politicians especially are too much attached to the false prestige of position and rank, and so they always seek re-election, re-election, even at the fag of at the fag end of life. These are some of the symptoms of an uncultured life. Hare Krishna. Anyone can continue next.
Okay, Haribo. 20. Fierce torrents of rain break over the strands and the partition walls of the paddy field. These disturbances resemble those created by the seasonal opponents of the standard principles of the Vedas who are influenced by the age of Kali. Okay, let's see the purport. Originally, the path of self-realization was established by the standard direction of the Vedas. Srila Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into 4 divisions, namely Sama, Atharva, Rig, and Yajur. Then he divided the same Vedas into 18 Puranas, supplements, and the Mahabharata. And then again, the same author summarized them in the Vedanta Sutras. The purpose of all this Vedic literature is to realize oneself to be a spiritual being eternally related with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-attractive form, Sri Krishna. But all these different Vedic literatures were systematically distorted by the onslaught of the age of Kali, as the walls of the paddy field and the strand of the river are distorted by the onslaught of heavy rains. The attacks of distortion are offered by atheistic philosophers who are connected only with eating, drinking, being married, and enjoying. Here, Prabhupada doesn't say, Prabhupada didn't say eating, sleeping, mating, and enjoying. He said being married. These atheists are all against the revealed scriptures because such persons are intimately attached to sense pleasures and gross materialism. There are also others who do not believe in the eternity of life. Some of them propose that life is ultimately to be annihilated and that only the material energy is conserved. Others are less concerned with physical loves but do not believe anything beyond their experience. And still others equate spirit and matter and declare the distinction between them to be illusory. There is no doubt that the Vedas stand as the most recognized books of knowledge from every angle of vision. But over the course of time, the Vedic path has been attacked by philosophers like Charvaka, Buddha, Arhat, Kapila, Patanjali, Shankara, Vaikaran, Jaimini, the Nayakas, the Vaishyashikas, the Sagunists, the Empirists, and Pasupat-saivas, the Saguna-saivas, the Brahmas, the Aryas, and many others. So many. The list of non-Vedic speculators grows daily. Sadhguru would be on this list without restriction. The path of the Vedas does not accord with any principle devoid of an eternal relation with God, attainment of his devotional service, and culmination in transcendental love for him. Okay, Haribo, now we need to go to Siksastakam prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam shreyah kairavachantrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhipartanam प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पिता नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहाजनिनानुरागः
Who wants to read next one?
दिनादुपि सुनीचेन तरुरुपि सहिष्णुना अमानिन मानिदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
आनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मम विषमे भवं बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितिधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तयाम्
नयनं गलद अश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदारूढया गिरा पुलकैर्लिखितं वपुः कदा तव ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविर्शायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे
श्रीशिवापादरतं पिनस्तु माम् अदर्शनं मर्महदं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनाथास्तु स एव नापरहम्
Haribol. Translation. Glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
No, please you continue, please.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all senses of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son
O
of
son of
Maharaj
Maharaj,
Nand. Yes, Prabhu, please continue.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atom at your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
हरि बोल श्री शिक्षाष्टकम की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय तत्व की जय नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय जगत गुरु श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपद की जय जय गौर प्रेम हरि हरि बोल